"You've been replaced." The text message glowed on my phone screen, sent by Marco from HR. My hospital room spun as I stared at those 3 words, the drip suddenly useless against this new pain. I gripped my phone, the 4 in my arm pulling tight. The cheerful arrangement of white lilies they'd sent mocked me from the bedside table. The card read, "Get well soon. We've got everything covered at work." The team, they sure did have everything covered, including giving away the promotion I'd worked 3 years for while I lay in a hospital bed with 4 broken ribs and a shattered leg. "Who?" I typed back, my thumb pressing so hard it might crack my screen. Marco was hesitating. Bad sign. Haley Crawford, Victoria's niece. Started Monday. I didn't throw my phone. I didn't scream. Instead, I did something worse. I pressed the call button for the nurse and calmly asked for something to help me sleep. Professional until the end. That's what had gotten me here, after all. Samantha Reed, 36, senior financial analyst. Always composed. Always reliable. Always passed over. When the nurse left, I opened my company email, the one I wasn't supposed to be checking during medical leave. Subject line: Organizational announcement. New head of strategic analysis. There was Victoria's smug introduction of Haley, her niece, a rising star from Goldman Sachs with fresh perspectives. The job that was supposed to be mine after I'd sacrificed weekends, holidays, and my personal life for 3 straight years. The position I'd been all but promised 2 weeks ago, before a drunk driver had T-boned my car on my way home from yet another late night at the office. My phone buzzed again. "Marco, I tried to stop it. They waited until you were literally unconscious after surgery." "I'm so sorry." I closed my eyes, took a deep breath despite the stabbing pain in my ribs, and made a decision. They thought I was out of commission? Good. They had no idea what was coming. Jennifer, my supposed-to-work friend and project partner, breezed into my hospital room 3 days later, carrying a glossy gift bag and wearing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Oh my God, Sam, you look awful," she said, placing the bag on my tray table. "The office isn't the same without you." "I'm sure it's not," I replied, watching her carefully. Jennifer and I had worked side by side for 2 years. She knew exactly how much the promotion meant to me. "How's Haley settling in?" Jennifer's smile flickered. "Oh, you heard about that? Well, you know how it is." Victoria had to fill the position quickly. "The Miller account can't wait." She waved her hand dismissively. "Anyway, Haley's fine. Learning the ropes." "My ropes," I said, my voice steady. "Don't be dramatic, Sam," Jennifer laughed nervously. "It's not like the job was officially yours. And honestly, maybe this is a blessing in disguise. You need to focus on healing, not dealing with all that pressure." I noticed she was clutching her designer purse, new, far more expensive than her usual taste. "Interesting. The Miller account was my project," I said. 3 months of research, financial modeling, and client development. Jennifer shrugged. "And we're all very grateful for your groundwork. Haley's just building on what you started." "Building on it? Or taking credit for it?" I asked, reaching for the water pitcher with my good arm. Jennifer's phone chimed. She glanced down, and I caught a glimpse of Victoria's name on the screen. "I should go. Lots of meetings today." She stood quickly. "Hope you like the gift. It's that bath set you mentioned once." I'd never mentioned any bath set to Jennifer. She hadn't been listening to me for years. "Before you go," I said, "could you email me the Miller presentation? I'd love to see how it turned out." "Oh, I don't think Victoria would. It's my work, Jennifer. I just want to see the final version." Her smile tightened. "You know what? Why don't you focus on getting better? Doctor's orders, right? Stay off email, rest up." She backed toward the door. "We've got everything under control." Those words again. "We've got everything covered." "I'm sure you do," I smiled. "Say hi to Victoria for me." After she left, I opened the gift bag. Inside was a generic lavender bath set, the kind you buy when you have no idea what someone likes. Below it was a company card signed by everyone. "Come back soon," most wrote. Victoria's note was different. "Take all the time you need to recover fully." Translation: stay away as long as possible. I reached for my personal laptop, hidden in the side table drawer. Marco had messaged me again. "Checked your old computer like you asked. They've already wiped it, but I made copies before IT got to it." "You're amazing," I texted back. "Can you get them to me?" "Already uploaded to your private cloud. Password is the one you gave me." I smiled for the first time in days. They thought they'd erased my work, but they'd forgotten one crucial detail. I never kept just one copy of anything important. The orthopedic surgeon wasn't pleased with my request for an earlier follow-up appointment. "Ms. Reed, you're pushing too hard. Your body needs time to heal." "I understand, Dr. Morris, but I need to get back to work as soon as possible." I adjusted myself in the wheelchair, hiding my wince as pain shot through my leg. "Your employer should understand, they don't." I cut him off. "And every day I'm away is another day someone else takes credit for my work." He studied me for a moment, then sighed. "I can see you're determined. I'll move up your appointment, but promise me you'll take it easy. No marathon workdays right away." I nodded, knowing it was a promise I wouldn't keep. When the physical therapist arrived later, I asked her for additional exercises I could do from bed. She hesitated, then wrote down a more aggressive regimen. "This is normally for patients further along in recovery," she warned. "I'll be careful," I assured her, already planning to do double sessions. That night, when the hospital was quiet, I propped myself up with pillows and opened my laptop. Using the hospital's Wi-Fi and a VPN, I accessed the cloud folder Marco had prepared. There was everything: my original Miller account analysis, the presentation slides, the financial models, and, most importantly, the email trail showing my work and Victoria's praise of it before my accident. I clicked through the Miller presentation, now rebranded with Haley's name. Slide after slide of my work, barely altered. The same graphs, the same strategic recommendations, even some of my exact wording. The only significant change was on the cover page, presented by Haley Crawford, head of strategic analysis. My jaw clenched. I scrolled further and found something unexpected: meeting minutes from the day after my accident. Victoria had called an emergency department meeting. The stated purpose: reallocation of the Miller account due to Samantha's extended absence. The actual outcome: full reassignment of all my projects to Haley, effective immediately, with no mention of temporary status. They hadn't just given her my promotion, they'd effectively erased me from the company while I was unconscious in the ICU. I was so absorbed in my discovery that I almost missed the night nurse entering my room. "Ms. Reed, it's nearly midnight. You should be resting, not working," she scolded, reaching for my laptop. "Just 5 more minutes," I pleaded. "This is important." She gave me a stern look but relented. 5 minutes. Then sleep, or I'll have to report it to Dr. Morris. After she left, I sent a quick message to Marco: "Need to know who attended the board presentation for Miller. And how it went." His response came immediately: "Victoria and Haley presented yesterday. Board approved everything. Victoria's taking Haley to the client meeting next week to finalize." Of course she was. The Miller account was worth millions, our biggest potential client in years. Landing it would cement Haley's position and erase any question about my contribution. I closed my laptop and stared at the ceiling. They thought I was helpless, confined to this hospital bed while they stole my career. They had no idea who they were dealing with. Samantha Reed doesn't stay down. A week later, I was discharged with strict instructions to rest at home. Instead, I took a taxi directly to the office. The security guard at the lobby desk did a double-take. "Ms. Reed, didn't expect to see you back so soon." "Just picking up some personal items, Tom," I smiled, leaning heavily on my crutches. "Could you let me up without signing in? I'd like to surprise everyone." Tom hesitated, then nodded. Your access card should still work. Want me to call someone to help you? No need. I can manage. I wanted the element of surprise. The elevator ride to the 14th floor gave me time to compose myself. Professional. Calm. Strategic. The pain medication was wearing off, but I welcomed the clarity it brought. When the doors opened, I moved as quickly as my crutches allowed toward the financial analysis department. Early morning meant fewer people to navigate around. Perfect. I spotted Marco at his desk near the entrance. His eyes widened when he saw me, and he immediately stood to help. "What are you doing here?" he whispered, taking my bag. "Victoria will flip if she sees you." "Counting on it," I replied. "Is she in?" "Board meeting until 10. Haley's with her." He glanced around nervously. "Jennifer's here, though." Even better. I made my way to my old desk, now cleared of all personal items. A nameplate reading Haley Crawford sat where mine had been. I resisted the urge to knock it to the floor. "Sam." Jennifer's voice carried across the office as she emerged from the break room. "What are you doing here?" Several heads turned at her too loud greeting. "Just collecting my things," I said, smiling pleasantly. "Looks like someone cleared my desk for me." Jennifer's eyes darted around. "We didn't expect you back so soon." "Your medical leave paperwork said 6 weeks minimum." "I heal quickly." I gestured to the storage boxes near the supply closet. "Mind grabbing me one of those?" "Hard to carry with these crutches." Jennifer reluctantly fetched a box while I unlocked my desk drawers with the key I still had. As I'd expected, they contained only office supplies, nothing personal, and certainly none of my files. "Looking for something specific?" Jennifer asked, setting the box down. "Just making sure nothing important was left behind." I opened the bottom drawer and pulled out a framed photo I'd kept there, my parents at their 40th anniversary. "Found it." Jennifer shifted uncomfortably. "Sam, about the position. You know Victoria had to make a quick decision. The business couldn't wait." "Oh, I understand completely," I said, placing the photo in the box. "Business first, loyalty nowhere." Her face flushed. "That's not fair. We were all shocked about your accident, but life goes on." "Haley's qualified, Haley's Victoria's niece," I corrected her. "And the Miller presentation she gave to the board last week? That was my work, down to the last decimal point." Jennifer's expression confirmed it before she could deny anything. "You couldn't possibly know what was in that presentation." "Couldn't I?" I pulled out my phone and opened a document. Page 12, paragraph 3. The projected ROI exceeds industry standards by 4.3%, with a confidence interval of 95.2%. My analysis, my wording, my discovery. She paled. "How did you?" "I always keep backups, Jennifer." "Always." The elevator dinged, and Jennifer's eyes darted toward it. "You should go. Victoria won't want a scene." "I'm sure she wouldn't," I agreed, making no move to leave. Victoria emerged from the elevator with Haley in tow. They were laughing about something, both dressed in expensive suits that screamed executive status. Victoria stopped short when she saw me, her smile vanishing. "Samantha," she said coldly. "This is unexpected." Apparently that's becoming my specialty. I turned to Haley, extending my hand. "You must be Haley. Congratulations on your new position. I hear you presented my Miller strategy brilliantly." Haley's handshake was limp, her expression uncertain as she looked to her aunt for guidance. Victoria stepped between us. "Samantha, you're supposed to be on medical leave." HR was very clear. "I'm just collecting my personal items," I said, gesturing to the small box. "Don't worry, I'll be out of your way in a minute." Victoria lowered her voice. "We should talk in my office." "No need. Unless there's something about my former position you'd like to explain." I kept my voice pleasant but loud enough for nearby colleagues to hear. The office had gone silent, everyone pretending to work while straining to listen. Victoria's smile was tight. "Your position was temporary, and you know it. We needed someone permanent for the department head role." "Temporary?" That's not what you said when you asked me to work through Christmas to prepare the Miller proposal. Or when I pulled all-nighters for 3 weeks straight to finalize the models. I looked directly at Haley. Did Victoria mention those were my financial projections you presented to the board? Haley's face reddened. I made some adjustments to the original work. Changed the font, perhaps? Added your name. Victoria's professional veneer cracked. That's enough. You're upset, and I understand, but this behavior is inappropriate. We can discuss a suitable role for you when you're fully recovered, but for now, you'd like me to disappear again so you can continue taking credit for my work. I finished for her. Unfortunately, I don't think the board would appreciate knowing the Miller strategy they just approved was developed by someone you pushed out while she was in intensive care. Victoria's eyes narrowed dangerously. Are you threatening me? Not at all. Just stating facts. I tucked my photo into the box. By the way, I've accepted a meeting with Harrison Miller next week. He reached out directly. Apparently, he remembered my name from the initial proposal documents. Funny how those things happen. The color drained from Victoria's face. You can't do that. You're still an employee of this company, and any contact with clients must go through proper channels. About that, I said, pulling an envelope from my bag and handing it to her. My resignation, effective immediately. I'm sure HR will process it promptly, given how efficiently they handled my replacement. Victoria took the envelope, speechless for once. I turned to the silent office, where at least 15 colleagues were openly watching now. It's been a pleasure working with most of you. For those interested in a company that values loyalty and recognizes achievement, I'll be starting at Westbrook Financial next month. My door will be open. As I turned to leave, Marco stepped forward. Let me help you with that box, Sam. Thank you, Marco. I handed him the box and adjusted my crutches. Victoria found her voice. This is unprofessional behavior, Samantha. You're burning bridges. I paused and looked back at her. No, Victoria. You burned the bridge when you decided to steal my work while I was fighting for my life in the hospital. I'm just making sure everyone sees the flames. The elevator doors closed on Victoria's furious face, and I finally allowed myself to smile. Marco whistled low. That was the most badass thing I've ever seen. Just wait, I said. The best is yet to come. Harrison Miller was an imposing man in his 60s with sharp eyes that missed nothing. We sat across from each other at a quiet corner table in an upscale restaurant downtown. I was surprised to get your call, Ms. Reed, he said after ordering coffee. Victoria Chambers gave me the impression you'd left the company due to health issues. I left the company due to ethical issues, I corrected him. My health is improving daily. He raised an eyebrow. Ethical issues? I placed a folder on the table. Mr. Miller, the presentation you received last week contained financial projections and strategic recommendations that I developed. After my car accident, that work was reassigned without my knowledge or consent while I was unconscious in the hospital. Miller frowned. That's a serious accusation. One I can prove. I slid the folder toward him. This contains my original analysis, dated and documented, alongside email exchanges showing my role as lead analyst on your account. You'll also find the presentation Victoria and Haley gave you, with the changes highlighted, primarily the removal of my name. Miller opened the folder and scanned its contents, his expression hardening. Why bring this to me directly? Why not take it to your company's leadership? Because Victoria is the leadership. And because you deserve to know who really developed the strategy you're considering investing millions in. I leaned forward. More importantly, you should know that the person who created that strategy is no longer available to implement it. Miller closed the folder. What exactly are you hoping to accomplish here, Ms. Reed? Transparency. And an opportunity. I handed him a business card. I've accepted a position as head of strategic analysis at Westbrook Financial. If you'd like the person who actually developed your financial strategy to oversee its implementation, I'd be happy to discuss how Westbrook can accommodate your needs. His eyes widened slightly. Westbrook? That's a bold move. They're smaller than your former employer. They're more ethical. And they're growing, especially after I bring my client relationships with me. Miller studied me for a long moment, then surprised me by chuckling. I've been in business for 40 years, Ms. Reed. I've seen every kind of corporate maneuvering imaginable. But I must say, this is refreshingly direct. He pulled out his phone and made a brief call. Janet, cancel our meeting with Victoria Chambers tomorrow. And set up time with the Westbrook financial team next week. He glanced at me. Make sure Samantha Reed will be present. After ending the call, he extended his hand to me. I look forward to working with you, Ms. Reed. I prefer doing business with people who believe in transparency. I shook his hand, maintaining my professional composure despite the triumph surging through me. Thank you for your understanding, Mr. Miller. Don't thank me, he said, standing to leave. This is purely business. I want the person who developed the strategy to implement it. That's just common sense. As he walked away, my phone buzzed with a text from my new boss at Westbrook. Miller just called. Whatever you did, it worked. He wants to move forward with us. VP title is yours, confirmed. I ordered a glass of champagne, my first since the accident. Sometimes justice arrives on its own schedule, but it always arrives. 3 months later, I stood without crutches at the head of Westbrook's largest conference room. The physical therapy had been grueling, but worth every painful moment. The transition of the Miller portfolio is now complete, I announced to the executive team. First quarter results have exceeded projections by 12%, and Mr. Miller has referred 3 new clients to us already. James Westbrook, the founder and CEO, nodded appreciatively. Excellent work, Samantha. The board is extremely pleased. After the meeting, James asked me to stay behind. I received an interesting call today, he said, closing the door. Victoria Chambers reached out. My stomach tightened. What did she want? To warn me about you, actually. He smiled slightly. Said you were difficult, unethical, and had stolen proprietary information. And what did you say? I told her that in the 3 months you've been here, you've brought in 5 major clients, improved our analytical systems, and shown nothing but integrity. He shrugged. Then I mentioned our lawyers would be interested in her accusations, and she quickly changed the subject. I laughed despite myself. I'm sure she did. She also mentioned they're struggling since you left. Apparently, several clients have expressed concerns about staff turnover, and 3 of your former colleagues have resigned. Only 3? I asked innocently. James gave me a knowing look. Marco from HR started yesterday in our compliance department. Jennifer from your old team has been sending her resume everywhere, including here. I assume you'd rather we didn't pursue that application? Your HR department should evaluate all candidates on their merits, I said diplomatically. Of course. He stood to leave. By the way, the Financial Times is doing a feature on women in finance next month. I've recommended you as one of their profiles. My eyes widened. Thank you. You've earned it. He paused at the door. Victoria finally got what was coming to her, didn't she? I smiled. I believe in natural consequences, James. People who steal credit eventually run out of other people's work to claim as their own. After he left, I returned to my corner office, larger than Victoria's had been, with a view of the bay. On my desk sat a small victory trophy I'd bought myself, a crystal paperweight engraved with "The best revenge is massive success." My phone buzzed with a news alert. Crawford Financial announces leadership changes amid client departures. Victoria Chambers steps down as department head. I didn't feel the surge of vindictive pleasure I'd expected. Instead, I felt something quieter and more powerful: vindication. They had tried to erase me while I was at my most vulnerable. Instead, they had only revealed their own weakness. I closed the alert and turned to my computer, where an email from Harrison Miller awaited, requesting an expanded proposal for his international division. There was work to do. My work with my name on it. Sometimes you have to fall or be pushed before you can rise higher than you ever imagined. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.